The Amazon is one of the most fascinating and unexplored places on the planet. A forest so dense that, to this day, it hides secrets capable of turning everything we think we know about history, science, and ancient civilizations inside out. What you'll discover now may challenge your perception of reality. Pyramids buried in the middle of South America, trees that move, lost cities that may have housed advanced societies, and even a stone monument that resembles a human face carved millennia ago. Not to mention a plastic-devouring fungus that may be the solution to one of the world's biggest environmental problems. If all this sounds unbelievable, know that even scientists are perplexed. How can an Amazonian fungus consume plastic without leaving residue? How were ancient people, supposedly without advanced technology, able to align giant stones with the winter solstice? What does a set of immense geometric figures carved on the forest floor mean? These are questions that remain without definitive answers, but which lead us to a single certainty. The Amazon holds much more than we imagine. And we're not just talking about legends or speculations. New discoveries are being made, revealing that this territory, once considered inhospitable to great civilizations, may have been home to sophisticated societies. But why was this history erased? What mysteries are still hidden beneath the dense vegetation? Get ready, because the last item can completely change your view of the largest rainforest in the world. In the heart of the Amazon, a tiny microscopic being may hold one of the keys to solving one of the biggest problems of our time: plastic pollution. Pestilothiopsis microspora, an unusual fungus, has the almost otherworldly ability to devour polyurethane-based plastic, a material found in everything from kitchen sponges to car seats. The most impressive? It does this even in oxygen-free environments, which means it could act in landfills, where tons of plastic accumulate without decomposition. Just imagine, an invisible army of fungi cleaning up the planet while no one notices. This discovery, made by Yale researchers, suggests a path to a future where plastic is not a sentence of eternal pollution. Laboratory tests already show that the fungus not only feeds on the material, but completely decomposes it, transforming what was once a toxic waste into harmless organic matter. Now, imagine this technology applied on a large scale. Recycling plants based on microorganisms, plastic bags that disappear without a trace, and even synthetic clothes that, at the end of their useful life, return to nature without causing damage. The impact of this could be revolutionary, transforming our relationship with plastic forever. But this raises an intriguing question. If an Amazonian fungus is capable of such an impressive feat, what else might be hiding deep in this forest? After all, we are talking about an ecosystem that holds mysteries that have not yet been completely unraveled, where nature itself seems to have answers to modern challenges. If a microscopic being can teach us so much about sustainability, imagine what a tree can tell us about mobility. Oh, and speaking of trees that defy logic, have you ever heard of the palm tree that walks? Imagine a tree that is not tied to the ground, but that, in an almost mystical way, can move in search of light and space. It sounds like the stuff of science fiction, but in the Amazon, this is a reality. The Socratia exoryza, nicknamed the walking palm tree, has exposed roots that allow it over time to change its place. Scientists have observed that this palm tree can move up to 1 meter per year, an impressive feat for a plant being. The secret lies in its system of aerial roots, which sprout and develop in new directions, while old ones die and fall apart. Thus, the tree walks, leaving behind the soil that no longer offers it the ideal support. This peculiar strategy may be an adaptation to survive the intense competition of the forest. The Amazon is an environment where the fight for sunlight is brutal and every inch counts. Giant trees block out the sun, and many smaller species have to find creative ways to ensure their survival. While other plants grow quickly or climb through the neighboring canopies, the walking palm tree has found a different path, moving around until it finds a better spot. Some theories suggest that it may even avoid flooded or unstable areas, ensuring that its roots remain safe. It is a true example of nature's adaptation and resilience. Now, if a tree can walk over the years, imagine what entire civilizations could have done to transform the forest floor. In fact, there are impressive records of large geometric figures carved on the floor of the Amazon, so enigmatic that they still challenge archaeologists. They are the so-called geoglyphs, giant marks that look like messages from the past waiting to be deciphered. Hidden beneath the dense Amazonian vegetation, giant geoglyphs reveal an intriguing and little understood past. These geometric structures, discovered in the state of Acre, form striking patterns, circles, squares, and other complex shapes, carved into the ground thousands of years ago. There are more than 500 geoglyphs scattered throughout the region, some up to 385 meters in diameter, and their origin is still a mystery. Who built them? For what purpose? Were they religious rituals, territorial landmarks, or even a primitive form of communication? The most curious thing is that for centuries, these structures were hidden under the forest, revealing themselves only when parts of the territory were deforested. Researchers believe that these geoglyphs belong to ancient civilizations in the Amazon, challenging the idea that this region has always been inhabited by complex societies. On the contrary, evidence indicates that organized populations lived there, creating roads, ceremonial centers, and advanced structures. What puzzles archaeologists is the absence of traces of habitation within the figures, suggesting that they had a symbolic or sacred purpose. Some scientists even compare them to the famous Nazca lines in Peru, suggesting that they could be linked to astronomical observations or spiritual practices. After all, many of these shapes are perfectly aligned with the solstice, which may indicate an ancient calendar based on the stars. What if these geoglyphs are just the tip of the iceberg of an even more advanced civilization? If the Amazon was the cradle of peoples capable of building such monumental structures, who guarantees that there are not entire cities hidden under the forest? By the way, it is not only in Acre that discoveries like this are happening. In Bolivia, archaeologists have found something even more surprising: hidden pyramids buried under centuries of earth and vegetation. Amid the green vastness of the Bolivian Amazon, archaeologists have made a startling discovery: pyramids buried beneath the forest, hidden for centuries. These monumental structures, some up to 22 meters tall, belong to an ancient civilization that developed advanced urbanization. Remains found at the site indicate that these peoples created complex systems of canals, elevated roads, and ceremonial centers that rival Mayan and Inca constructions. How were these pyramids erected? And why were they forgotten by time? These are questions that still challenge researchers, but one thing is certain: the Amazon hides much more than previously imagined. Studies suggest that the civilization that built these pyramids may have been one of the most sophisticated in South America, capable of modifying the environment without destroying it. Instead of deforesting, they created cities integrated with nature, taking advantage of resources without compromising the ecosystem. This approach stands in stark contrast to many civilizations of the past that, by expanding their territories, depleted their own sources of survival. The pyramids may have served as religious temples, administrative centers, or even astronomical observatories, connecting the inhabitants to the movement of the stars. Some structures even have curious alignments with specific constellations. But if even pyramids can be hidden in the Amazon, imagine what else can be buried, waiting to be rediscovered. There are signs that these peoples had advanced astronomical knowledge, and the proof of this may be in a mappa. There, an archaeological site has been called the Stonehenge of the Amazon, with giant rocks aligned with the winter solstice, suggesting that the ancient inhabitants of the forest understood the cosmos much more than we realize. In the middle of the Amazon rainforest, where only dense vegetation and meandering rivers are expected, a set of giant rocks rises enigmatically. Located in a mappa, this archaeological site has been called the Stonehenge of the Amazon for its striking resemblance to the famous British monument. There are 127 strategically placed stone blocks, with some of these formations aligned perfectly with the winter solstice. But how did ancient people, supposedly without advanced technology, manage to organize these stones in such a precise way? This mystery intrigues archaeologists and reinforces the idea that the inhabitants of the Amazon had much more sophisticated astronomical knowledge than previously imagined. The most accepted hypothesis is that this place functioned as an astronomical observatory, allowing ancient civilizations to follow the cycles of the sun and the seasons. This was crucial for agriculture, religious rituals, and social organization, as a calendar based on the movement of the stars could indicate the best time to plant and harvest. In some present-day indigenous cultures, similar practices are still preserved, where the night sky serves as a guide for daily life. The fact that this knowledge existed thousands of years ago leads us to wonder how many other vestiges of advanced societies might be hiding beneath the forest, waiting to be revealed. What if this Amazonian Stonehenge is just a fragment of an even larger system? Stories about civilizations lost in the forest have been circulating for centuries. Legends such as El Dorado and Paititi speak of entire cities hidden by time, which may one day be rediscovered. Are we just scratching the surface of a past much grander than we imagine? After all, the Amazon is not only a cradle of biodiversity, but it may also have been home to civilizations as complex as the great cultures of antiquity. For centuries, explorers, archaeologists, and even adventurers obsessed with riches have been searching for the Amazon's legendary lost cities. El Dorado and Paititi are the best-known names, described as metropolises hidden in the heart of the forest, full of gold and monumental buildings. But are they just myths, or is there some truth in these stories? Recent discoveries suggest that highly organized civilizations lived in the Amazon, creating cities interconnected by roads and supply networks. Satellite imagery has revealed geometric patterns hidden beneath vegetation, indicating that vast areas were modified by human hands long before the arrival of Europeans. Archaeological research has found evidence of artificially enriched soils, known as terra preta, which allow cultivation for centuries without depleting nutrients. This suggests that the ancient peoples of the Amazon developed sustainable agricultural techniques that allowed them to sustain large populations. In addition, networks of canals and artificial lakes indicate an advanced level of water engineering, proving that these civilizations not only existed but thrived for a long time. If entire cities were swallowed by the forest, who guarantees that their stories disappeared completely? Do legends like Paititi's hide fragments of a forgotten truth? What if these cities were just one part of an even bigger puzzle? In some regions of the Amazon, there are formations so unusual that they seem to defy any logical explanation. An impressive example is a colossal rock carved in the shape of a human face in the middle of the Peruvian jungle. Who would have created this structure? And even more intriguing, what was its purpose? The head of Harakpet may be one of the greatest enigmas of the forest, raising new questions about the peoples who lived there. In the middle of the dense Peruvian Amazon rainforest, an immense rock carved in the shape of a human face silently observes the world around it. Known as the head of Harakpet, this rock formation is one of the greatest archaeological mysteries in the Amazon. For the indigenous Harakpet people, this figure is sacred, carrying the memory of their ancestors and being a symbol of protection. However, for researchers and the curious, the big question remains: was this sculpture shaped by nature or by a forgotten civilization? The level of detail, symmetry, and human characteristics of the structure are so impressive that they raise hypotheses about its artificial origin. If this rock was really carved by human hands, who would have done it and why? Some theories suggest that the head of Harakpet could be a vestige of an ancient Amazonian civilization, capable of working with stones on a large scale, similar to the builders of the pyramids or the gigantic statues of Easter Island. Others believe it may have been a territorial landmark or a ceremonial site, where rituals were performed to honor deities or forest spirits. The Harakpet Indians tell stories of a time when this region was inhabited by a wise people who disappeared without a trace. Is this legend connected to other Amazonian mysteries? The fact is that the Amazon continues to challenge our understanding, revealing little by little secrets that seem buried by time. If we've ever found giant geoglyphs, hidden pyramids, lost cities, and monuments that may be as old as classical civilizations, what else might be hiding under the treetops? Perhaps we are just at the beginning of one of the greatest rediscoveries in human history. If until now you believed that the Amazon was just an immense wild territory, without great civilizations or deep mysteries, this journey must have changed your perception. The evidence is there, scattered throughout the forest. Lost cities that rival the great ancient metropolises, monuments aligned with the stars, hidden pyramids, and even a fungus capable of devouring plastic. The question now is no longer whether these enigmas exist, but what else is still hidden beneath the green immensity? What else is waiting to be rediscovered? What if these ancient civilizations possess knowledge that we still do not understand? If they could manipulate nature in their favor without destroying it, do we have anything to learn from them? Now tell me, which of these mysteries intrigued you the most? Do you believe there is much more to be discovered in the Amazon? Leave your opinion in the comments and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and activate notifications. Because in the next video, we're going to explore even more the puzzles that defy science and make the impossible seem like reality. See you there.